In 2000, a money-losing DVD startup flew to Dallas to meet the giant of home entertainment. The startup was drowning after the dot-com crash, and its founders made a desperate offer. Buy us for $50 million. We will run your online rental business. You keep the stores, everybody wins. The giant company's executives listened, and then they laughed. They actually laughed the founders out of the room. The startup was Netflix. The giant was Blockbuster. Today, Netflix is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and Blockbuster is one single store in Bend, Oregon, kept alive as a tourist attraction. Everyone knows that punchline, but almost everyone tells the story wrong. Blockbuster did not die because its executives were idiots who could not see the future. It died because of something much more uncomfortable. It saw the future clearly, it even built the future, and its own business model reached up and strangled it. This is the real story. At its peak, Blockbuster was not just a video store, it was a ritual. 9,000 stores worldwide, around $6 billion a year in revenue, a store within 10 minutes of virtually every American suburb. Friday night meant walking those aisles under the yellow and blue lights, fighting over a new release, grabbing popcorn at the register. The whole machine ran on a simple engine. You rented a tape for a few dollars and you had to bring it back. And buried inside that engine was a component almost nobody thought of as a technology decision, but it was one and it would eventually kill the company. Here is the number that explains everything that happened afterward. In the year 2000, Blockbuster collected roughly $800 million in late fees. That was about 16% of its entire revenue. And because a late fee costs almost nothing to collect, it was some of the purest profit the company had. Think about what that means. Blockbuster's single most profitable product was punishing its own customers. The business was architected at the systems level around a revenue stream that its customers hated. Every quarter, executives looked at a profit and loss statement where hundreds of millions of dollars depended on people failing to return movies on time. That is not a moral failure. It is an incentive structure, and incentive structures are as real as code. Any future that did not include late fees looked, on Blockbuster's own spreadsheets, like setting a billion-dollar machine on fire. Remember that, because a future without late fees is exactly what was standing in the lobby in Dallas. Netflix was not really a movie company. It was a logistics and software company that happened to ship DVDs. No stores, no shelves, no clerks. You managed to queue on a website, discs arrived in red envelopes, and you kept them as long as you wanted. No late fees ever, because the subscription model made them unnecessary. Underneath that simple promise sat two serious pieces of engineering. The first was a recommendation algorithm called Cinematch, which learned what you liked and steered you toward films you would actually enjoy, which mattered enormously because it pushed demand away from scarce new releases and into the deep catalogue where the economics were beautiful. The second was a distribution network, automated regional centers that turned the United States Postal Service into a next-day delivery pipeline for movies. Blockbuster's core asset was 9,000 buildings. Netflix's core asset was software. And software, unlike buildings, gets cheaper and better every single year. Now the part of the story that almost nobody tells. Blockbuster eventually saw the threat, and it responded far better than legend admits. In 2004, it launched Blockbuster Online. In a genuinely bold move, it then killed late fees nationwide, walking away from hundreds of millions in annual profit to fight Netflix. And in 2006, it launched the one weapon Netflix could not copy, total access. Rent a DVD online, return it to any store, and swap it for a free rental on the spot. It fused the website and the stores into one system, and it worked. In early 2007, Blockbuster was signing up subscribers faster than Netflix. Netflix's own founder got rattled enough that he reportedly explored buying Blockbuster's online business. For one brief moment, the giant was winning, so why did it die anyway? Because the old business model fought back like an immune system attacking a transplant. Killing late fees and funding total access cost Blockbuster on the order of $400 million a year, and the pain landed on the stores and the franchisees who revolted. The activist investor Carl Icahn, who had bought into the company, waged a war against the strategy and the CEO behind it. In 2007, after a fight over a bonus worth less than $8 million, the CEO who built Total Access walked out the door. His replacement came from a convenience store chain, and he did exactly what the old business model wanted. He gutted the online program, raised its prices, and pulled the company's energy back into the physical stores. Blockbuster had built the weapon that could have won, and then its own organization dismantled it because the spreadsheet said the stores were where the money was. The spreadsheet was right for about 18 more months. Then it was over fast. Netflix launched streaming in 2007 and began converting its DVD subscribers into an internet product with almost zero marginal cost. Blockbuster, now $1 billion in debt from years of buybacks and dividends and the retail war, had no cash left to build a streaming platform and no credibility left to partner for one. Revenue fell every single year. The 2008 financial crisis crushed what remained. In September 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy with around $1 billion of debt. The satellite company Dish bought the corpse for pocket change, hoping to use the brand for its own streaming ambitions, then gave up and closed the remaining stores. 9,000 stores became 300, then one. The one in Bend, Oregon survives by selling the past. Tourists come to walk the aisles and photograph the membership cards, like visitors to a museum of a fallen civilization. So what actually killed Blockbuster? Not blindness. The company saw Netflix coming, copied it credibly, and briefly outran it. What killed Blockbuster was that its revenue architecture was incompatible with its own survival plan. 16% of its revenue came from a fee its replacement model had to abolish. Its most valuable assets, 9,000 stores, were exactly the costs its replacement model had to eliminate. Every dollar spent building the future showed up on the books as a wound to the present, and the people whose bonuses, franchises, and stock prices lived in the present had the power to stop it, and they used that power rationally right up until the company was dead. Netflix had no such war inside it, because Netflix had nothing to protect. That is the actual lesson. The hard part of disruption is not seeing the future, or even building it. It is that an incumbent's own profit engine will fight the future like an infection, and usually the engine wins. Blockbuster built the thing that could have saved it, and its own business model tore it apart. It is not the only giant that did this. Another company literally invented the technology that destroyed it, the digital camera, and then buried it in a vault for 30 years to protect film. That story is on the channel right now, and the link is on screen.